So, hi guys, I talked in one of my other videos about how for this Kimochi you shouldn't actually go for Ailments because Ailments are kind of bad, and I only very quickly talked about this, but now I'm going to go a little bit more in depth. I'm going to do some little bit of maths, don't worry, it's going to be very simple maths on why Ailments are actually bad. And here's actually a tweet from one of the people who got a really good run, who did a lot of damage against the Kimochi. You can see right here, it got like 100 million per battle in some of these. By the way, just very quickly as well, the specific lineups that these guys are doing is they have two damage dealers, which is the Mami, and they have the Konohazu, because they have attribute strength and damage, but we'll get to that in a second. Then they have a buffer, in this case they have Mikage and they have Tsubaki. It's actually intentional that they switch from one to the other. I'm not going to go into that because it's going to take too much to explain, but yeah, it's mostly because of weak MP hits, because of Aqua, Fire type, whatever. Then they also have two mana batteries, which is just Mayu and Madoka spamming MP out so that everyone else can keep doppling, and that's basically how you go about the strategy. And we're going to see look at some of the damage numbers that you're doing with this strategy. So once you're full buffed, when you pop your active Memoria that give you Magia damage up as well, you pop everything at once, the highest damage that they're gonna get is something like this. So this is the doppler from the Azaleas, and we can see from the right, I can read at least the fact that one of these says Attic Killer, because Konoha and Hazuki, if you take a quick look at their Spirit Enhancement, they do have Attic Killer right here in their SE, which means they get 25% damage up versus enemies affected with Stealth Ailments. That did trigger right here, which is one of the texts that it says on the right, and then it also says some other stuff about Magia damage up, some other damage up, etc. Now, the other character in here is Swimsuit Mami, and Swimsuit Mami does not have Attic Killer on here, and I can also tell you that the other screenshot right here that does show Swimsuit Mami does not have Attic Killer on it, because it's not on anywhere on the right. So just as a little quick overview on what we're going to be seeing on these two screenshots. However, both of these characters, as I said, they have attribute strength and damage to all enemies, and if you don't really know that yet about Stealth Ailments, there are like 3 levels of Stealth Ailments, like the level 1 Stealth Ailment, which is the very weak kind, which is for example Fog, which is Poison, which is Charm. Then you have the level 2, which is a bit stronger, which is for example Burn, which is Stun. These kinds of effects, and they the special part about what makes the level 2 is the fact that they have a special effect that the target takes bonus damage from weak elements. So in this case, for example, this Kimochi will be burning, for example, and this will make it so it takes bonus damage from the element it's weak to, in this case, forest. So it takes more damage from forest because it's burning. That's what level 2 Stealth Ailments do. And then there's level 3 Stealth Ailments just like Curse and Bind and those kinds of stuff, or Dazzle, and those also prohibit the target from healing, but doesn't really matter. But level 3 Stealth Ailments also have the bonus that the target takes increased damage from weak element, and usually that's pretty good. I always say that if you want to do the most amount of damage possible, you kind of have to play with this, and that's still the case. It will still be the case after this video, but here we're going to look at something that is kind of a bit of a downer to this sort of strategy. So if we look at the numbers, we'll see right here on the Konohazu Doppel, where they have Attic Killer, where the enemy is burning and they're doing a lot of damage. We can see that the numbers look a bit weird. So we can see that we have 4 numbers on the outside. They're all somewhere around 6.7 to 7.1, somewhere around that area. And then the center tile has 9.7 million. It's a lot higher. Why is that? Well, I've done some maths. I've talked about this before in other videos. The short of it is only the center tile counts as being affected by Stealth Ailments. But let's do some maths as well on top of that. I'm probably going to do a zoom right here so you can see this more easily, where you have the Azaleas Doppel, which is in total about 37.1 million if we add all these numbers up. The center tile takes 9.7 million from this Doppel, and the outer tiles on average take about 6.85 million. If we do the calculation on how much damage bonus we're actually getting on the center tile, it's about 41%. But now if we average it out over all the tiles, like how much more total damage do we actually get from having a Stealth Ailment on the enemy? It's 8%. It's 8%. That's nothing. So only the center tile counts as being affected by Stealth Ailments. I've done a little bit of a thing here for you. So if you look at this, and you have here the boss with all these different tiles, where is it? There it is. And you see right here, only one of the tiles actually counts as being burning in this case, and you have all these other 4 tiles that aren't burning. So if, for example, a Doppel now comes along and fires at these 5 tiles, it will calculate the damage for each of these tiles and the doppel itself will have attack up, the doppel itself will have damage ups, and all these kinds of effects. The doppel itself will have doppel damage up and Magia damage. I will have all these different effects. But then when it checks on the enemy, what the enemy has, it will see that all 4 of those outer tiles, they have nothing on them. Those outer 4 tiles, they have nothing on them. Only the center tile has an ailment on it. So only the center tile will actually count as being ailing, and only the center tile will take bonus damage from it being a level 2 status ailment like Burn will take bonus damage from that. Only the center tile will take bonus damage from Addict Killer. And if we look at the other screenshot, we can actually kind of see that that sort of lines up as well with our maps. Like we have Addict Killer on Konohazu, but Swimsuit Mummy does not have Addict Killer. So if we do the same sort of maps for the Swimsuit Mummy, we should see a little bit less bonus damage on the center. We can actually already see just from the numbers that the bonus damage in the center is not quite as much higher as the outer tiles. And we see that in total it did about 39 million damage. Center tile took about 9 million damage. Outer tiles on average about 7.5 million. And now if we do the calculation, we see that the center tile compared to the other tile took about 20% more damage, which in total across all the tiles is only a 4% damage increase. And the 20% number is actually quite on the is quite on the mark, because I have this page right here. It's just one of the pages that shows some maths about the game, and it shows that yeah, this week's status ailment, it's about a 20% bonus. Like it goes from 1.5 to 1.8 on the attribute bonus. So yeah, it's about a 20% damage increase if the enemy has a level 2 status ailment on it and you attack with the element that is weak to that. So the maths does line up. But yeah, only a 4% bonus, because only the center tile is affected. That means you only in total get a 4% bonus. And that is why should you pick Addict Killer, right? Why should you pick Addict Killer? Like you can also see that compared from not having Addict Killer to having Addict Killer, like Konoha and Hazuki, they have 25% Addict Killer, but it only is a 4% damage increase. Only a 4% damage increase from having 25% Addict Killer. Imagine if they just had a 25% damage up, or better yet, just a 20% damage up. How much more damage that would be in total, because with 25% Addict Killer, it's just 4%. And even if you don't have Addict Killer at all, you only get like a 4% damage bonus from having an enemy that is ailing. So what's the point? The reason why Swimsuit Mummy and why Konoha and Hazuki are being used here as the main damage dealer is because they have attribute strength and damage. And attribute strength and damage means you do a crap ton of damage against enemies that is weak to your element. And that's the main reason why they're playing it. That's why they're playing Konoha and Hazuki, not because of the ailments. No one is playing Konoha and Hazuki for the ailments. Like none of the top dogs, I mean, are playing Konoha and Hazuki for the ailment. They're playing them because they have the attribute strength and doppel with a lot of Magia damage up in their kit, and that's the reason why. So yeah, overall, just don't play ailments right now until they make it so all the tiles count as afflicted by stealth ailments. Of course, if you're watching this at some other point where this Kimochi isn't even running, and you're fighting multiple single enemies, of course, if you're fighting multiple single enemies, this doesn't matter, because single enemies will still, of course, take the full damage. But yeah, if you have a boss that occupies multiple tiles, don't use ailments. Just don't. Just don't. That was that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys next time.